What's good, YouTube? Ben here. Welcome to the next video on the channel. This one's going to be like one I did a few weeks ago. So I did a few weeks ago a video about my first concert in 10 years. Me and my brother went to go see Killswitch Engage, Decapitated, Hatebreed, and Fit for an Autopsy. And a couple of weeks after that, we went to another concert, which was Megadeth and Disturbed. Now that was at the that was on October 20th at the Utility Arena in Birmingham. And again, just like that video, I'm going to give footage of the show, or at least what I got. For different reasons, there were certain sections where I just couldn't capture audio. But let's talk about it in sections. I'll go through Megadeth first, and then I'll go through to Disturbed. Now, I'm not a fan of Megadeth by any means. There's one song by them I like, which is Symphony of Destruction. And my brother just doesn't like him, period. So we didn't really go for Megadeth. We went for Disturbed, because Disturbed is another band that me and him have loved since, we were kids. And I gotta say, I'm not gonna lie, I had no expectations, and I was right to have no expectations. Megadeth sucked. Like, they weren't great at all. Like, you could tell, like, they're close to the end of their touring potential, because they had no hype in the crowd. They literally went from song to song to song to song to song with literally no break. They didn't interact. The crowd was dead, which you'll see from some of the footage I got, because when we got to Megadeth, we got there late anyway. So Megadeth had already started performing. And honestly, the crowd was just super dead. Like, there was nothing to them whatsoever. Like, so I got a little bit of footage from what I could get, because we were really far back because we got there late. So, of course, we got there so late, we just were too far back. We couldn't do anything about that. But honestly, like, from the clips you'll see in a minute, the crowd was dead. Like, other than a couple of people at the front that were like, woo, that's it. There was nothing else. Like, the crowd was just super dead. Like, even people around us were like, what are they doing? Like, this isn't much of a show. But you'll see from the clips here that I got from a couple of their songs. So, unlike, of course, when I went to go see Killswitch, there were four bands there. There was only two this time. You had Megadeth, and then you had Disturbed. So, of course, after Megadeth, there was like a 20, 30-minute sort of interval between the two bands. So, being really sort of defeatist, me and my brother went outside for a vape break and, decided we'd just come back a bit early, try and get as close to the front as we could for Disturbed. Because we knew full well that Disturbed would be a good show, and we were right. Like, Disturbed were fantastic. They just... Obviously, I've never seen them live, and they were honestly brilliant. It was a show. It wasn't just a concert. It was a full-blown show. Like, David Draymond and the rest of the band were interacting with the crowd. You had, they had this whole electric chair segment where, he, for like 2 straight minutes was being electrocuted on an electric chair. You had like blood coming down everywhere. And then, of course, immediately went straight from there back into a song. Like, it was really cool. It was the 25th anniversary of the Sickness tour. So they did, of course, pretty much everything from the Sickness album, including notable ones like Down with the Sickness, Shout, Land of Confusion. But they did Land of Confusion. They did Sound of Silence. So a lot of their greatest hits, not to mention a couple of other decent songs like Meaning of Life, which is another good one. Of course, you know, me and him were constantly being dragged on the border of a mosh pit. Some poor woman, she was like 60, was being pulled into a mosh pit. So hopefully she ended up okay. So certain songs I did get in their entirety. I got Sound of Silence, and I was able to get Shout, thankfully, because that's my favorite Disturbed song. But other ones like Down with the Sickness, I got a little bit of the intro, and then that's it. Because the moment the song kicked in, like, you could fit 10,000 people easily into Utilita. You know, there's a few thousand in the seats, and then we were on the standing. So, like, holy crap. Like, the mosh pits were insane. Like, there was a good amount of mosh pits throughout the entire arena. But let me get you to some of the Disturbed clips I got. So I'm not going to show the entirety of the songs I got, because obviously I got quite a few clips. But what I will show you is some of the more highlighty parts. And then, of course, like sections from stuff like Sound of Silence, which was great. I will say this much. So my phone's quality in these recordings was sort of hit or miss. Primarily because of the lighting. The lighting did quite badly affect my camera. So certain clips, like unlike with Killswitch and obviously those bands, I got really nice footage. I didn't get as much good footage with Disturbed. But let's jump into the clips.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Exercising unlicensed critical judgment and thought, producing illicit propaganda, and attempting to unify the masses. Due to the highly disruptive nature of these crimes, the need to protect our fragile society, and the desire to set an example for the common good, we hereby sentence the condemned to death by electrocution. May God have mercy on your soul.
Any last words?
Proceed.
Roll on one!
My brothers and sisters, my blood. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because a vision softly creeping left it seen while I was sleeping. And the vision that flowers planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone. Leave the halo of a street light. I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stared by the flash of the neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence.